The biggest problem with narcissism as a whole is just lying. Narcissists are liars. They're cowards. They don't want to show up. They don't want to communicate the truth. And they want to avoid any and all accountability and responsibility, even if it means hurting or abusing other people. At the end of the day, narcissists are liars. But what about the ones that, quote unquote, don't lie? That leave you in a place thinking like, well, did he actually lie? Did he not lie? These are the ones that fall through this little slip hole that the narcissist thinks is okay, which is omission. Now, omission oftentimes is going to be a place that the narcissist will gloss over it. I didn't lie to you, I just forgot. I didn't realize. Yeah, I totally forgot. And what you'll see is a pattern. Now, it's one thing if you see a pattern of there being a small aspect of like, hey, he forgot once in a while. It's another thing when you see this habitually. You see this piece of where there's constantly having different aspects of the facts omitted. He might tell you that he went to the store, but he might not tell you that he went to the store and called his girlfriend along the way. Obviously, there's going to be parts of the story that he's going to completely omit. Now, in a narcissist's mind, it functions really weird. It functions in an aspect of saying, if I omit something, it doesn't mean that I'm lying. Therefore, I'm not a bad person. Therefore, I'm a good person. Therefore, I'm okay to do what I'm doing. Doesn't make sense, right? I know. That's because most narcissists don't operate on any type of standard or morality. They just operate on, I'm the king, I do what I want, so get out of my way, and whatever. What you need to understand is the majority of narcissists lie no matter what. A lot of them lie with omission, leaving out very important details, leaving out certain things. One of the things that happens as you start to expose, as you start to unearth different lies in the narcissist's life is a phrase that oftentimes he'll use that's very manipulative. And let me explain why. He'll use this phrase that says, I'm being honest. Ask me anything. Trying to open up the door and to show you and to prove to you that he's an honest guy, that he's willing to be transparent. He's like, you caught me. I admit it. I lied. So like, just ask me anything. Let's go ahead and get it out. And on the surface, it seems like a great idea because it's like, oh, he cares. He wants to work on his healing. He wants to work on this. And you get all excited. But the problem is you get all excited for the wrong reasons. You get all excited because he's misguiding you. He's misleading you inside of the question. I'll be honest. Ask me anything. I would use this all the time. The reason why I would use it is because it gives the perception and it portrays that I want to be honest. But in reality, the whole goal is, how much do you know? So think of it this way. When he says the question, I'll be honest, ask me anything. I want you to listen. I want you to hear. Tell me how much you know so I know how much to tell you. It's really what the conversation with the question is. He wants to have you lay out your cards on the table. He wants you to be able to say, well, this, and this. And he's like, phew, that's only the 3 out of the 200. Well, at least I'm safe on the 200. Yeah, we can own up to those. Oh, yeah, I did do that. I'm sorry, I forgot. Do you see what I'm doing here? Like, this whole process you're going to see inside your relationship more and more when he's trying to keep these lies, when he's trying to hide stuff. Like I said at the very beginning, like the biggest thing that affects narcissism is simply being a liar. And people are like, but what about all of the different traits? Yeah, I get that. But if you don't first admit that you have a problem, all the traits don't matter. Like if you're used to manipulating someone else, but you won't acknowledge that you manipulate someone else, then we're dead on arrival. You can't fix anything. We can't work on anything. This is why the majority of narcissists won't actually heal or invest time and energy into themselves to grow and change and develop simply because they're not willing to be honest. The honesty piece is the hardest piece for a narcissist because it's exposing them. It's exposing and it's saying like, wait a second, if I look at my life, what I'm going to see is not pretty. What I'm going to see is filled with shame. It's filled with guilt. It's filled with mistakes and errors and things that I've done wrong to other people. I don't want to look at that. So he runs away. So he's like, I'd rather hurt and abuse. I'd rather focus on anything else but the actual problem. See this happen over and over and over again where the narcissist wants to run from accountability, responsibility, and he's going to do this by lying. One of the easiest ways is to lie by omission. This piece of omission, like I mentioned earlier, gets tricky because the narcissist justifies it in his mind. He starts to think, well, it's okay. And you get to a place where you don't really notice it because he's omitting it. You just start seeing maybe at times there's gaps in his story or there's gaps in things that are happening. Like, pay attention to those because you need to raise your level of awareness because he might continue to be lying to you on multiple levels. Now, the hard part is you get stuck not knowing what to believe. This leads us into cognitive dissonance. This leads us into confusion. This leads you into the fog. All these different pieces that we've talked about, it leaves you stuck. And when you stay stuck, you don't actually make a decision for you. You don't actually go a direction that you need to go. You don't actually move. So as a result, he continues to lie and use and abuse you over and over and over again. And you stay stuck. Do you see this? Like, his whole goal is, how does he keep you trapped? He has to be able to feed you enough lies, and he has to be able to omit enough lies and give you just enough truth to keep you coming forward, to keep you going forward. It's like the carrot in front of the donkey. He's like leading you. He's like saying, come on, come on, and come on. And he's treating you like a naive 5-year-old. Simply because he's using and abusing it. Inside this piece of omission, it's what do I need to tell to make you happy? And what can I leave out so that you don't get sad? And you'd be like, oh, well, he cares about me. No. What he cares about is not dealing with your emotions and your feelings, because that brings up emotions and feelings on his part that he's not willing to acknowledge because he's a liar. So again, we go full circle. No matter how you phrase it, no matter the things that you're struggling with inside this relationship, just know it's all about him. That's it. Like, if people could just understand this, that it's all about the narcissist. People think, oh, well, I did this to him, or, oh, he did this for me. No, it's all about him. No matter how you phrase it or slice the pie, it still comes back to being all about him. It's the focus, that's the intention, that's development, over and over and over, always about him. And so when the lie of omission is happening, just know, hey, it's not because he's being partially truthful, it's because he's being lying. He's showing up as a liar so he doesn't have to be accountable. When we deal with this piece of narcissism, people think like, well, if I could just get him to be aware. And the problem is awareness doesn't produce transformation. Awareness doesn't motivate or put someone in a place that says, oh, now I want to change. Because there's a lot of narcissists out there that are fully aware of their actions. What? Yeah, that's what I said. There's a lot of narcissists out there that are fully aware of their actions. Don't believe me? Look at how they treat you and how they treat their coworker. How they treat you, how they treat their family member. How they treat you, how they treat their friends. They're not the same. Why? Because he knows how he's showing up to you is different than how he shows up to everybody else. Because if he showed up to everyone else, how he shows up to you, he wouldn't have anybody in his life because everybody else would walk away. But you don't. Because you're holding out for hope. You're holding out thinking maybe it'll work. You're holding out being blind to the aspect of how he treats other people and how he continues to lie to you. Narcissists will lie constantly to avoid the accountability, to avoid the responsibility. Leaves you confused, leaves you frustrated, leaves you stuck. The goal of what I do is to help you actually cut through the lies. So when he's saying something, you're like thinking, wait, what are the actual facts here that I need to be looking for? That I need to be looking at. What's the actual reality? Because if you don't focus on the facts, you will stay stuck inside of the fiction, inside of the fantasy, inside of the world that he's selling you. If we don't get you out of the world that he's selling you, have you look with the blinders off so you can actually see, wait a second, these stories don't match up. He admitted this. He didn't tell me about this. Something's going on here. He's being shady over here. He's being cagey with his phone over here. Wait a second. Then it's important for you to start taking an inventory and start looking at the relationship, realizing that not everything that you've seen is actually true because he's been lying and manipulating you. Lies of omission are one of the hardest to catch because you don't know that he's lying. This is where it comes down to having a deep level of honesty and vulnerability that needs to be established in the relationship. Trust. But early on, a lot of times you'll have the narcissist be like, just trust me, without actually producing any fruit. It's ridiculous. It'd be like you're walking in and you're supposed to get surgery and you see the guy running in and you're like, doesn't really look like he even knows what he's doing. And he's like, just trust me. I didn't go to school for it. I didn't actually work on this, but I'm fine to operate on you. Just trust me. Why don't we actually see proof? Why don't you actually get proof that you should trust him? One of the aspects is being able to look at his phone anytime. They're like, oh, invasion of privacy. Screw your freaking privacy because this guy's cheating on you. He's lying to you. So everybody that wants to tout privacy, you can't say that on here. This whole piece of there has to be honesty. If there's not honesty, there's no relationship. If your relationship is built on a bed of lies, it's doomed to fail before it even starts. So if he's not willing inside this piece of, oh, now he's being honest, if he's not willing for full transparency, you still don't have an honest relationship. If he still has something to hide from you, you still don't have an honest relationship. And like I mentioned, it's dead on arrival. Narcissists will use all different types of lies to be able to manipulate and control you, to be able to hide the truth so they can continue doing what they're doing. He's going to continue to try to do this, to confuse, to abuse, to continue to guide you down a direction that you don't want to go. But you wouldn't know this because he's omitting the truth. If you're seeing this happen to you today, like, reach out. I want to be able to help you heal from narcissistic abuse and the lies and the confusion that it's leaving you under. Go to rawmotivations.com today to be able to learn more.